Hi there, everybody. This is Tenacious Earl. I'm back for another Labor Day video, and this is a live from the Tenacious Dugout. I don't have the goofy hat. My wife calls it the soup hat because it's kind of a reference to Caddyshack, where Rodney Dangerfield goes into the pro shop, and there's a really goofy-looking hat. It's not the one that I wear, but it's a different goofy hat. And I'm sure he's already seen Judge Smales, which is Ted Knight's character. He's already seen. So Dangerfield's character is Al Cervic, which I think is also. It's funny that it's Cervic, and if you, I'm surprised they didn't find a way to talk about the family of the Cervics. But in any event, he's already seen Smales have this hat on, so he goes over to the guy running the pro shop, and he's like, "Oh, whoa, what a hat! When you buy a hat like that, they should you should get a free bowl of soup." And then he looks to Smales and goes, "Oh, but it looks good on you." Turns away and rolls his eyes. So she calls it my bowl of soup hat because she thinks that since I bought it, I should have received some kind of, what do you call it? A complimentary bowl of soup with it. So yeah, so I mentioned in the video earlier that was a Diamond King video about wanting to be able to figure something out, and it was how to. I use a program called Broadcaster to do these live videos. Now I've been using my laptop for quite a while now. I didn't have one for a long time, and then I splurged. But I've been using a program to kind of like do live streaming, and also it also is nice because it will record to the hard drive, and then I can upload later and do some post production things like that. But for a long time, I was able to put Strat PC onto or sort of into this program to be able to show you guys the screen there. I thought, oh, that's great. So then how about if I show you standings and things? A lot of the stuff I put together is in Google Sheets. I couldn't do it. Well, finally it's not that I haven't had time before, but it's like I don't know if all of you are like this, but there are times when I say something to myself, make a little mental note, let's do this, and then I don't ever get around to doing it. It's pretty lame excuse, but it's an excuse nonetheless that is true. Finally today, I went and just did the standard run-of-the-mill every day. We do it 100 times a day. Google search, Broadcaster, Chrome, blah, 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 and boom, like 2 clicks in, there's my answer. Another 2 clicks in, boom, works. I'm like, man, I could have figured this out months ago, and I wouldn't have gotten so darn frustrated, but such is life. Hi, Dave, and hi, Larry. So I'm going to go through and do some updates. I don't have an inordinate amount of time here, maybe 20 minutes or so. So I really kind of need to get into it. So first, here is, I'm not going to have the, well, maybe I will. Let me see how this, I think that, let's see. Does it still look all right? Yeah, I think I can do that. Wow. That's great. So I can still have my comments up. It's that's nice to know. So if you haven't already seen that video from earlier today, I'm sorry, you should have already checked it out, because here is the nuts and bolts right here in front of you. The Indians they defeated. I didn't even update it. I can update it on the screen right here for you. It was what was this? 6-3. So I could put 6-3 6-3 here, and now you guys can see that the Indians beat the Twins 6-3, and so on the screen you can see full on the column that is listed as I on this screen. This is the order if we get to a second time through. It's getting reordered. The list gets reordered because, excuse me, they get stacked back in there once they've lost. So the Orioles, they moved from the third team on the list. Now they are the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th team. And same with the Tigers, they moved down a couple, and that's how it's working. So it's going to be the Twins and the Indians, and then the winner of that will face Washington, and then Toronto, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I can scroll this guy down, and you guys can see the remainder of the list now. So you can see all the way down. You can find your favorite team. I know I know Larry for sure would be Indians, and Tribe Fan would be too. I don't know about Dave Little. Maybe he's well, I don't know. I think he's saying OH because he's given a celebratory like high five to Larry Harris there. So, but in any regard, the Indians are currently the king of the hill, and that's where it stands. But you can look at the rest of this list and see where your team shows up. We've already gotten through 10 of them, and we'll be moving on to 11 very soon. So next, let's take a look at Tenacious. And I'm going to go ahead and spread this out. It's going to cut into my... Let me just double check the screen. Oh, it still looks pretty good. So I still have the comments over there. So if you guys want to comment, ask questions, I can move back and do it. I can do if it's during the course of this presentation of each screen, that's great too. Just let me know. So Reds. Yeah, sorry then. It's that was kind of a tough thing. It was an Ohio matchup, and someone had to lose. So, all right. So for Tenacious, we've got the Raiders at 5-0, and Tennessee, by virtue of just a single loss. Hey, at Bachatter, they are 5-1. So this is using second season football from play. The one I showed you before, this guy right here, King of the Hill, that's using basic strat. So Tenacious is with, like I said, second season. So then you got Carolina, 3-1. They're 2 games behind in play from Tennessee. And then you got Kansas City. So the top 4 are going to go into a playoff at the end. The other 5 are just, as we say back where I'm from, SOL. So you got Chicago, Jacksonville, Baltimore, Miami, Buffalo. No, they can't seem to get it together. This was not the season where they went to the playoffs, so not that should have a whole lot of bearing, but they just can't seem to get it together. So that's okay. Let's see. Let's take a look at. This is probably a good one to go to next. So the schedule coming up would be Buffalo at the Bears, Carolina at Kansas City, Oakland at Baltimore, Jacksonville at Miami, and the odd man out who gets the week off would be the Tennessee Titans. How about that? Can't believe I remembered. Too many safeties, but I've kind of made a little bit of a change in my strategy. So the change I've made is that if a team is inside its own 5-yard line, I'm calling the offensive plays outright. So, and it's probably going to be an inside run most of the time with the A back. because I feel like you just need to sometimes just preserve and not put yourself in position where it's going to, you know, sometimes some of those combinations can just really come up problematic. And you know, since there's no, as far as I know, there's no mechanism within second season to say quarterback just throws it away if he's going to, you know, come close to a safety. I just think that I'm going to have to use discretion in trying to keep away from having them, because I just think it's a little too prevalent. Um, so, and you know, maybe if I were to email Keith or ask one of the other guys who's a mega second season fanatic, you know, how what they find, maybe they have some other ways to, you know, abate that problem. Maybe they just say, you know what, I just assume, um, you know, I don't know. I don't want to put words in their mouths or attempt to proclaim that I know what I'm talking about when it comes to how best to avoid that. Um, so he likes the homebrew idea with the incomplete pass. Yeah, I think that's probably the way it happens most of the time. Is a guy's just going to try and throw it away. You know, in today's NFL, you probably trying, if you're going to throw the ball, you're probably getting out of the pocket and trying to throw it out of bounds. Since you know, past the line of scrimmage, since they've more or less eradicated the intentional grounding call for anybody other than idiots at quarterback. Anybody who has half a brain who knows how to avoid that can do that. So let's see. Is this? Well, oh, you know what? That's not. That's kind of the unprettied up version of the statistics. So Brian Hoyer has been injured, but he should be coming back for the Bears. He's actually the most efficient passer at the moment. Has a 109 passer rating. That's another good thought there at Chatter, would be rolling a D20 and making an extreme roll the safety, or some percentage, 25%. I don't know. And you could also, another neat way to do it would be to use the passer's pass rating. If he's a 2 passer, he can't. Well, I don't want to say that. I've seen Aaron Rodgers get say maybe that's where you get the 5%. Maybe if they're a 1, there's 10% chance, and then like 25 for a 0 pass quarterback. So just to try and you know, bias it a little bit more towards guys that are not so good at quarterback. They might have more of a chance of getting tackled. So Hoyer, and then Newton's 89.7 quarterback rating. You've got Bortles with the most touchdowns thrown with 10. That's interesting. He's also tied for third with the most interceptions. So Barkley and Mariota also have 6, which is tied for first in INTs. Who has the least? Tannehill, Tyrod, and Barkley. Although, let's see. Who did I say first? Mariota. No, what was I thinking? 3. Tannehill. Tyrod has the most attempts for having the least amount of touchdowns. So, rushing so far, DeMarco Murray is the guy. Currently, although he's not leading in yards per carry, he is at 433 yards. He also is dwarfing everybody else, mostly because his team has been out in front a lot of the time. Dwarfing as far as carries go. Next most carries in the league is Spencer Ware, and he's down at a 2.1 yards per carry mark. Your best is Jalen Richard at the moment, 7.8. But he only has 41, and he's got a pretty good inside. I think he has a good inside rating. Receiving Mike Wallace from Baltimore with 500 yards on 42 receptions. Also tied for the lead with 3 touchdowns, along with Kelsey, Allen Robinson, Amari Cooper from Oakland, and Zach Miller, surprisingly, from the Bears. Hello, Tribe fan. So, I didn't say hello to Dave S. He says poor Bills, and and also good day. But yeah, whoa, I just clicked off my screen, so I got to get back to it. All right. Before I go too much further, I need to switch screens here now, and I'm just going to go through the Tenacious Baseball League. It's kind of been in a little bit of a hiatus. And let's see, is this showing up? It is not. So I think I need to add that. Add source. That'll do it. That'll do. Okay, so let me get it up here so I can actually see it. So yeah, the Mets 20-10 tied with the Marlins. 20 wins, 10 losses, a good old 2/3 percentage. San Diego at 3/5 or 18-12 with, what is that, 14 games left to play. So then you've got Pittsburgh and Toronto, just half a game. That's the edge of the playoff picture right there. Pittsburgh and Toronto, they're separated by half a game, and then you've got another team, Baltimore, right there with them at 15-16, all right around 500. And then you've got Oakland not too far out either, and then Detroit. I guess Detroit's still within striking distance. They've kind of come on here since starting kind of bleakly, but they've actually lost 3 in a row, so maybe they're tailing off a bit. Then you got the Yankees, not out of it, but they're 4.5 back from the playoff spot, so not great. And the Angels, I don't think they're doing anything. They're not playing particularly well. Let's see. We could do some league leaders real quick. Trout leading the league in average. You got, and Real Muto second for the Marlins. Then you got Marte and Walker and Cabrera rounding out the top 5. Home runs, you got Chris Davis from Baltimore and Chris Davis from Oakland. Complete coincidence, both at 10. Then you got 3 guys with 9 homers. That's Stanton with the Marlins and Walker with the Mets and Encarnacion with Toronto. It's interesting. You've got 2 of those 5. I'd say currently with the Yankees, but I think at least one, if not both of them, are injured. So, so much for that. But yeah, RBIs, Trout. So Trout, he's not getting his home runs, but he is getting the average and the RBIs in order to, as like 2/3 of the Triple Crown or whatever. So let's go down real quick to pitching. You got Jose Fernandez, rest in peace, and Noah Syndergaard tied with 5 wins each, and you got Verlander and Kohler at 4. So you got Marlins 2 in the top 4, and then ERA you got Fernandez, Syndergaard, DeGrom obviously not getting nearly enough run support because he's way down the list. You got Aaron Sanchez with Toronto. He's pitched pretty well. Tillman, Baltimore. So one last thing I want to go through. I don't want to get bogged down talking about stats. And that would be coming back to this. And there's a new project tell you what, I'm going to talk into this first. And then we will talk about the new project. Well, I'm going to talk about the new project, and then I'll just show you what I'm doing. So I was doing some more at the soccer, and I realized that I kind of blew. I played 4 games in match week 4, and then I sort of, for some reason, I started to look back, and I realized I botched something. And because I already knew that project was kind of like going to be so daunting that I was probably not going to finish it, I just decided, you know what, I've played a bunch of games in it, let's just set it down for now. So I'm still sort of, I had an idea back when I first got the set that has percolated for a long time, and I just haven't I have to decide. Still have to decide which game I'm going to use. I may still use Atba Soccer, but I've been thinking about maybe hauling out Soccer Blast and trying to do this project because I can start afresh. I don't have to be tied to anything, and not that I ever did, but I guess I had Atba Soccer at the time, and it was the only game I had at that moment, so I was kind of tied to it. So let's go back here and let's find the screen, and I'm going to call it. I'm calling this project the Crazy Prem Cup, and so what this is, and first let me go back here. It's what my idea was is I wanted to try and figure out a way to take the English Premier League and kind of marry it with a World Cup or a World Cup qualifying style tournament. Something that would be fewer games, hopefully get to the heart of the matter, maybe have some thrills and spills. You might get in the World Cup, you'll get an African team kind of like wandering through because maybe it's they get a good result or two, and then maybe they're in the group of death, and another team starts having some internal struggles and just sort of like flames out of the thing. So kind of would like to see if this would bring about something strange. So I just thought this would be an interesting way. Maybe someone else has done something similar to this. It wouldn't surprise me. I always put that caveat. If someone else has, I'm not pretending to have. I will say I feel like I definitely have brought this through just thinking through things myself and what would be an interesting project. But I'm not gonna. I'm not cavalier enough to say that things haven't been thought of before, because they probably have. But let's get back here real quick. So what I decided was that I would do 4 groups of 5 teams each. Okay, so here are the groups, and so I had pots like you have more. I guess I think they do this in the World Cup draw as well, but they also do it in the Champions League. I tried to do the top 4. So I'm using the 2017 and 2018. So the 2017 to 2018 season, British Premier League goes from August to May. So it's a winter schedule. I'm taking the standings from the season before, so that's 16-17, plus the teams that were promoted. They were put in that final pool, and I did some randomization. And so these are the groups that I drew. So Group A would be Tottenham, Southampton, West Ham United, Crystal Palace, Newcastle United. So, and so it could also be that because I've used promoted teams that are coming out of the championship, maybe that I'm not using the finish from 2017-2018. So you might get a surprisingly tough group. You got Liverpool, you got Manchester United, which Manchester United finished that season pretty well. So that might be a tough group right there. Bournemouth, Swansea, Brighton and Hove Albion. So Group C is Manchester City, Arsenal. You got the Foxes, the Leicester City. You got the Potters. They didn't finish so well in that season. And you got Huddersfield Town, another back marker. So, you have to. I'll just mention Group D as well. Chelsea, Everton, West Brom, Burnley, Watford. So, you look at those, and it's probably, this is a group you could see a surprise. You could see a West Ham or a Crystal Palace, maybe pip Southampton. You're probably going to get Liverpool and Manchester United there, but who knows? You're probably going to get City and Arsenal, and I don't mean to say City in any kind of fan way, because I'm not really a fan of any of these teams, but Leicester City was a winner not that long before 2017-2018, so maybe. Chelsea, Everton, not the strongest team in that group, so you could see Burnley might actually come up, because I think they actually were a pretty good team that year. So it might be Chelsea and Burnley out of there. So we'll see. So that's kind of my current. So from there, just to kind of conclude, it's going to be just one game against each opponent. So it will be 4 games for each group, or for each team in each group. So it's going to be a total of 40 for group play, and then the top 2 from each group are going to go into a knockout, which is a European name or a British name for a single elimination tournament. So, all right, I've got to go because the dinner bell is just about to ring. But anyway, if you have any thoughts on how any of this stuff, or have any more questions, just leave a comment. And we will see you soon with another Tenacious Dugout or another game or something here in the future. So keep rolling your games and have a good rest of your Labor Day.